Okay, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. To have a really cool strap showcase for you guys from Straps Co. They make these really cool DASSARI straps, and essentially, I think they pair really perfectly with this 2023 Seiko 5 Sports 55th anniversary reissue, the SRPK17. A little bit about Straps Co. They pretty much have a massive collection of watch bands and accessories, and in terms of this particular product, it's a 1960s inspired FKM rubber rally watch band. And these textured straps are produced with premium FKM rubber and embossed with a vintage grain finish, paired with a very nice brushed stainless steel tang buckle. These are also very dust resistant, water resistant, and extremely comfortable in terms of their wear profile, which is great. And they actually just happen to fit the design aesthetic perfectly of this particular throwback Seiko. So if you were lucky enough to get your hands on one of these and you're looking for something that will also fit, I know that these particular models can be quite finicky because of the hooded lugs. And I will say you will have to play with it just a little bit, but you can easily get these in, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to kind of showing you a couple different color options and just talking about these. So with that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get these pieces in hand, and take a closer look. All right, guys, big shout out to Straps Co. for sending these pieces in. Normally, they're really great about sending any, kind of stuff in for the channel to share with you guys. We did get a couple of different color options, although these aren't every color option that there are. These actually come in blue, gray, black, brown, yellow, red, green, and orange. These are the ones that I felt like were probably going to be the most popular to pair with this, mainly because of the colorways that are already here on the watch itself. Of course, I think the black is going to go great, but I think also blue with that blue font could really be fun, especially with the colorful aesthetic, really could make it pop. And of course, speaking of a pop of red, there you go. If I was going to hang out with Mr. Wonderful, I think this would be the red strap I'd want to be wearing. And then, of course, for something quite sedate, but still different and bright, I think this lighter gray actually makes a great pairing as well. Now, what I did mention about the hooded lugs, as you can see right here, all of that essentially is covered. Normally that's open. Let's say something like the 62 MAS style of the SPB 143 would be a boxed lug where it's just going to be a kind of a square cutout. Most of the time though, you're going to find one where it's going to cut all the way out and kind of butt up against the roundness of the case and have a cutout there. The nice thing about having this enclosed hooded lug is that when you put things on, it has a nice integrated feel. It feels very seamless. And of course, when you look at this, right, it's funny. I think at first glance, I really didn't think of this necessarily as motorsports oriented, but I think it actually does a great job of looking like, a motorsports oriented watch. I think one of my first automatics was this Tissot. I think I still have it somewhere. But it was a motorsports oriented watch and it looks similar to this. It just didn't have a rotating bezel, but it had a similar layout and it did have a black bezel like this. And I will say that this thing, if you guys watch the full video, I love this watch. The bracelet, although aesthetically looks fantastic, it's not necessarily the most comfortable. And when it comes to something like this, where I think it's just a fun wearable piece, I think it's really great to actually just have a strap option that fits it well. So with that said, let's actually get this on wrist. We won't cut away because this is a strap video, not a watch review. And so third hole about, and then what I'll do is I'll get that through. I do have a larger wrist at about 7.5 inches, but check that out, guys. It's just, if you've looked at any vintage models of these, you'll see them floating around on straps that look very, very similar. So I love that it's period correct. I love that it's modern FKM though. So this is fitting really, really beautifully. And of course, if I get my wrist too close to the camera lens there, you're gonna get a bit of perspective distortion. So what I'll do is I'll keep my wrist nice and low here and then just tighten the frame up for you so you guys can get still a detailed look while keeping a truer aspect ratio of how this might wear on your own wrist. Check that out. very handsome, and you can see again the hooded lugs. It is a tight squeeze, you know, but it's more about alignment when it comes to getting these pieces in, right? And the nice thing is you do get quick release spring bars. So you just kind of get, well, the one side in, and then you leverage over, and you kind of got to mess with the alignment to get the other side in. Sometimes they'll go in easy, and sometimes they won't. So I will say that. But with that said, let's go ahead and open up a couple of these other packages and, you know, just take a look at these. I would say maybe the red, since it's the brightest, what we can do is check out the details of the strap in terms of the grain that's on there, and that texturing, and then also the details as we take a closer look here. So nice and bright, so you guys can see. Very nice kind of tumbled pebbly texture there, and then of course very nice, very standard looking, but also very period correct in terms of that tang buckle. You can see underneath 20 millimeters, and then you have the quick release spring bar. Not everybody likes quick release spring bars. I think as long as it's not going into a formal diver, you'll be good to go. I do find, of course, at least for Seikos and Citizens, and even various Swiss divers, is typically they're going to have larger spring holes. So you're going to want something with a fatter tip if you're going to put this in a dedicated dive watch. So you might be turned off by that. But again, this isn't a dedicated diver. This is a Seiko 5. So it actually has the smaller tips there. So this actually works really, really well. But you can see really nice construction and a great taper there. So you can see for comfort, you're going to have it thicker here. You're going to get a little bit more structure. So in terms of support on the wrist, that's going to be great. And then where it's nice and pliable and thin is going to be underneath, where it's going to wrap, and you're going to have essentially double, right? Because you're going to have a little bit of thin layer there laying kind of on top. Here, let's say. So then you're going to see that just kind of, as you can see here, kind of butted up against each other. So you're going to want it thicker here, thinner down here. So that all works. And then of course the taper itself is nice and dramatic, which, you know, is very period correct when you look at it. So these are going to taper to 16 millimeters. And then they're, in terms of thickness, they're going to taper from about 4.5 millimeters down to 2 millimeters. You're going to have a short side of 70 millimeters and a long side of 114. So not overly long. You can see that's why I'm kind of down to the last 3 holes here on my wrist, but I do have a larger wrist at 7.5. So if you have a smaller wrist, you're going to have much less overhang. So that is good news for a lot of folks out there. And, you know, I understand that everybody has a wrist the size of mine. So that pretty much covers it. So let's go ahead and see how we fare messing with the quick release spring bars on the video. Oh, you can see it's a little warm, so I'm already sweating. So let me give that a quick wipe here. Sorry about that, guys. Hot summer day here in Oceanside, California, part of San Diego County. So we'll take a look now that I clean that up. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take the red, and I can't promise that this is going to be fun, but I will promise you that I will, you know, I'm just going to keep it real. It's not the easiest fit, but sometimes you get lucky. So let's see if I can get lucky here. I doubt it, but why not? So some tricks that I'll do is I'll kind of go like this, and you can see it worked. Got right in there. So the red, check that out. That is vibrant. That pops. Should I just, maybe I should just go hardcore and try to do it all. But you can see here, guys, everything, it's very tightly fit. So even when you look here, these aren't going to be poking you. They're kind of inset almost, just because of how tightly this is going to butt up against the hood of the lug. So even when it's outside of the watch, you can see there's a little bit of, let me make sure that's focused. There we go. There's a little bit of protrusion there, right? It's nice and round though, so it's not gonna be poking your wrist. But in terms of getting to that, you know, you could use a tool, spring bar tool, if you need to. But let's see if I can get lucky. Once again, I get that side in, then this one, I gotta do some wiggling. Hopefully it doesn't fall. See, that's what happens normally, is it'll pop right out. So I gotta get it, wiggle it around until that little guy clicks forward. And it can be a bit frustrating. Sometimes I've even gone into it reverse way and then kind of pinched it this way, because sometimes that'll just work. But I'm going to hopefully not get this too muggy while I'm manhandling it while I wrap around the tripod here. But I'll try to kind of pinch it forward as much as I can to get that to align. But you can see this is real time. I'm only gonna do this once. I'm gonna cut away for all the other ones if I even decide to do the other ones. I might just have to lay those out for you. But if I can get it to go in here. Again, if I just pinch this forward, or I can also hit this at an angle where it's now this way. Man, I can't believe I got so lucky on that first one and so unlucky on, oh, there we go. So that was the trick. So essentially, let's get that to focus. What I did was I put it this way so that I could push it, and basically that got it to align easier. So boom, here we are so many minutes later. I apologize. Maybe I'll speed that part of the video up. Maybe I won't. I just might make you guys suffer through me, you know, mumbling on while I did that. But I'm just gonna take the watch out, wipe it down, just get some of those sweat smudges cleaned up. Maybe a little dust off there. Okay, check me out. So now you have this really nice, bright, vibrant look. Some of you might be thinking, hey, that looks kind of familiar to something like, let's say, the Tissot just recently released. Yes, right? Like, how cool is that? You can capture the same effect with a very nice and quite affordable strap. These go for $34.99 each. So, and then they also do always have those buy two get one free offers on their site. So definitely check that out. So very, very cool. And what we'll do is we'll throw this on the wrist as well. Boom. And yeah, I don't know if I'll make you guys suffer through me trying to finagle the others, but you can see that even with the tripod and the camera and all these other obstacles, I was still able to get it on, you know, relative ease. I did have to do a trick. So again, if you guys are going to be doing this, what you're going to want to do is you'll get this side in first. Let me get this to focus. Okay, you're going to come in with this side, and then essentially when you get it in, you're going to go ahead and pivot the strap so that now you're going to be pushing vertically in so that it'll align to the lug hole right there. So pretty cool. But one thing I will show you guys is some other colors. Check that out. I think the blue really goes well. It's not overly matchy either, which is good. If I can get it to focus. Okay. Not overly matchy in terms of the blue there. It is, I think on camera, it's probably looking more vibrant, but this is closer to a navy in, you know, in hand, I'd say, to the naked eye, without the camera adding any blueness to it with these really bright studio lights. But I think that actually looks really good, and it actually is quite mellow versus here. Of course, the red really, really pops, really fun. I mean, this really amps up the rally aesthetic. Like, this feels like a driver's watch now, whereas this might just be a nice comfortable option, not necessarily you know, motorsports oriented. And then again, apart from the black, another nice sedate option, but I feel like this gives you more of kind of a retro look because it does have, of course, it is gray, it is bright. Then bam, check that out, right? So then you get something like that. I think that actually looks really clean. And you know, if you really like the steel bracelet, but maybe you just want something to wear in the meantime that can give you a little bit more options in terms of being very comfortable, something that you can you know, get nice and dirty and wet and not worry about scuffing up, that really cool bandolier style bracelet that comes with the watch. I think that's actually a really cool option as well. So of course I think the black is the way to go, but I will say this might just be like from the batches. The black one, I feel like almost isn't quite as nice. I feel like the finish isn't quite as like crisp, like the material wise. I feel like the colors have a little bit more of a sheen to them. Let me know in the comments below you know, what you guys think. I think this might have been from an earlier run. Of course, you know, they probably, one of the first ones they did was the black. And then I think, you know, of course, when they started rolling out the other colors, I think they got a bit of a nicer formula. So I will say, if you are struggling between colors, if you want probably the one with the nicest aesthetic, you know, in terms of the build quality there, I can appreciate these colors because it does highlight just how nice. Look at that. The seams are, you know, barely visible, and I like that it actually aligns more with the bottom part of the strap, the underside, versus right down the middle. And this is very crisp, guys. The texturing on there is very nice. Again, great pliability, nice, you know, nice taper either way. But yeah, I think this looks pretty sweet. We'll take it off wrist and just hold it in hand here so you guys can get a nice clear look at this one. So if you were lucky enough to get your hands on one of these watches, hey, try your hand with one of these straps, and now you know the trick. When you're putting them in, you're gonna want to go ahead and change it to this angle, and you can see, if you look at it, basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to use that angle to come in on because of the clearance here. So it doesn't give you as much room to shimmy if you're trying to do it this way, basically, even though of course it can flex this way once the holes are all aligned. It's just a tight tolerance. So again, you have a little bit more room for play when you have it in like this. So you're going to go ahead and set that in, and then you're going to tilt, and then it should align and snap in quite easy. But yeah, I think this pop of red, it's very cool. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.